Master said he's a spiritual doctor, and sure he is. And you know, friends, you know who else was a wonderful, great spiritual doctor? It was Jesus Christ. And this is a very special week where, of course, not only did he enter Jerusalem, that was the Sunday that went by, that's called Palm Sunday. And then, of course, there was much adoration. There was also, of course, one of the most unfortunate events in history of the betrayal, his arrest, and crucifixion, which then, interestingly, by the coming Sunday, we will celebrate Easter, turned into Easter. So, on one level, what a week it was. I don't think we can find too many weeks like this in all of history where somebody was loved and adored so much by mankind, then put to trial and persecuted, and then was risen once again in form, call it by his powers, but primarily because he was one with God. So God shows us the drama of life, but then where ultimate security and victory comes from. So let's take a moment to offer a prayer, especially in this very sacred week. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashai, Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji, our beloved Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, our friend, guide, example, Swami Kriyananda Ji. We humbly bow before you all. Beloved Christ, we invoke your presence that you may fill our hearts with your kindness, compassion, love for all, forgiveness. Help us serve as channels, as you did, for the love and kindness of God. Om Shanti. Let's meditate just for half a minute, especially opening our hearts. And let's do this brief visualization. Kriyananda Ji said, think of your heart as a lotus. The sun rays are falling on that lotus, and its petals are one by one turning upwards, channeling that fragrance of kindness up the spine, up from the heart, out to everybody. Om. 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 Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Very nice to see you all, friends. And last week, I was, you'll remember, in New York City, and I had shared a satsang from a devotee's house. Well, here I am in Maine now, in another devotee's house. And I was talking, last week of the sheer diversity of New York City. You would think, well, English is the only language, or it is the primary language, but I had mentioned there are 800 languages spoken over there. There are people from practically every nation over there. And it can be, as I had mentioned, challenging, bewildering sometimes. It's almost like you don't know where to start. But on the other hand, the place to start loving people is from your heart. That's where the capacity to love comes from, the heart that is filled with the presence of God, the love of God. Many years ago, when I was doing my night rounds, as Guru Priya mentioned, as a doctor, training doctor in Delhi, I was in the hospital, St. Stephen's Hospital, and there were beautiful paintings of Christ all over the hospital. And I remember late in the night, going from one ward to another, I saw the picture of Christ. My goodness, interestingly, it was for tonight. It must be tonight, those many thousands of years ago, that he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane before his crucifixion. He knew what was coming, but who likes that kind of welcome, And so he was asking God one last time, do we really have to go through this, And so anyway, I was looking at that painting where Christ is praying, and this very spontaneous thought came to me that Christ was such a healer. All masters are, all saints are. And the interesting thing is, hardly any of them went to medical college or medical school, which is to say, it's good to know your skills. They have their place in the physical world, but the prime requisite to heal people, to pray, to be, you might even say, a doctor, or to doctor people's souls, is to simply have love and kindness. Without that, like Sri Yukteswarji said, it's like a cold, steely surgeon's knife. Not very pleasant. On the other hand, if you have love in your heart, everything somehow works out. Now, I want to share a very sweet incident that happened with me just not too far, a few miles from here. When I arrived here, my host and very good friend, Dr. Gurupriya, Gurupriya, there's another Gurupriya over here. You should see her. She's from Maine. And she said, let me take you to a beach over here, which is called a beautiful place by the sea, Ogankut Beach. So we went there, and it was raining that day. So she showed me the place, and she said, I have working days, but you can come here for a walk. And the following day, I did go there for a walk. And Kriyananda ji said, whenever you enter a room, life, a place, city, situation, go with your heart first. He said he never saw Paramhansa Yogananda, the 3.5 years Kriyananda ji was with Yogananda. He said, I never saw Master once with a bent spine. So if your spine is straight, you're just leading from the heart all the time. And so anyway, I've tried to make practice of these things that, let's focus on the basics. Keep the spine straight, keep the heart open, bring a smile, not artificial in any way. In the beginning, you have to try to do these things, but really, they come from inside. As Swami used to say, when you're feeling joyful, naturally you straighten up and you smile and you feel happy. If you're very joyful, sometimes tears may come down your eyes and such. So anyway, I went to this place. I walked around. I was thanking God and gurus. And then as I was coming, my friend had showed me some shops. Then she said, oh, you can go to some places here. There's a library here. So, I've made this point in other talks that we must talk to God all the time. Like Yogananda said, He's the creator of this world, and He alone can guide us in an unfailing way. That makes sense. So I looked at those shops and I had some money. It's one of my principles that I want to give first, whether it's money to a place, whether it is blessings, whether it is appreciation. So you go to a place. So I thought, okay, I'm going to give something over here today. So after I finished my coffee, I thought of a shop and I walked into that shop. Now, I should tell you, the life is not a circus. The spiritual path is not a circus. It's not like we need daily miracles to convince ourselves of God. But on the other hand, when God does decide to surprise you sometimes in a nice way, you say, my goodness, it's like God doesn't even blink an eye. It's like Shambhavi Mudra all the time. You're not blinking your eyelids. He's always watching over us and guiding us. So I walked into this beautiful art gallery and a glass workshop, and I was looking around, and I went in, and such beautiful things. So of course the shop owners greeted me, and I said, oh, this is such a beautiful shop you have, and such nice things you've kept over here. They're like, yeah. Then they say, where are you from? I said, I'm from India. It's my first day here. I'm a tourist. I'm looking around. So then one of the persons in the team, they said, oh, India, that's the one place I really long to go. I said, that's nice. I said, you should come. It's a wonderful place. I said, what is it where in India do you want to go? But if you have a particular place. And she said, Banaras. Well, being a devotee, I got interested. I said, what aspect of India draws you? She said, the spirituality. She said, I have a spiritual teacher and he's from Kolkata. I said, wait a minute. I said, my spiritual, and because she knew so much, I said, I have a guru. He's from Kolkata and his disciple was from California. And she said, really, my guru's guru was from Kolkata. And anyway, I said, who? And she mentioned a Swami. He's a disciple from the lineage of Sri Yukteswarji. The moment I said, I'm a disciple of Paramhansa Yogananda, and remember, I'm in regular clothes. She's an American lady, and she said, oh, yeah, Yogananda, of Autobiography of a Yogi. I have been to one of his students' place called Ananda Village in California, which is 1,000 miles from here. I said, oh, I'm going there in a few days. She said, really, where? I said, Expanding Light. And she said, that's where I stayed. And we just shook hands. We were so happy for each other. And the other people were just looking on, what's going on over here? And then, anyway, I got a little book. I'm fond of books. So, for example, I got this little book. And while I was looking for this book, she came up to me and she said, I want you to pick one of the art pieces over here. And she said, my friend has taken these photographs. So she gifted me this beautiful photograph. And then I tried to get one more. I wanted to buy one and she wouldn't let me buy it. She said, no, please let me gift it. And you think sometimes, how do these things happen? Then I went to other shops and we had nice conversations. And again, you don't have to have conversations. But if you see, would you not, if you come out in the living room and your family's sitting there where you don't have to have a conversation, you can just be quiet and beam love. But if somebody's sitting by themselves, or Swami said, if some shopkeeper is looking a little low, why not give them a kick of joy, of bliss, of a smile? Why not appreciate their shop? Why not say some nice things about their country? And I did that in some shops. It just happened very spontaneously. People ask, where are you from? What do you do? How are you today? And then people speak of the challenges they're going through, because many people import things from China, gift items. And then one lady was like, oh, thanks for giving me business. This tariff system is really hitting us. Then I said, really, how is it affecting you? And what do you think? And then started talking about that. Then you say, I'm going to pray for this. Let's pray. Then I shared a little bit about what Master had said about difficult times, or how to be stable in difficult times. And without calling it a satsang, without even naming your guru. But you see, when it comes from the heart, I have seen people just are so grateful that you're not just somebody who's come there to pick a mug and then go, that we are all one family. Like Swami writes about kindness. This is from his book of affirmations. When you can view all human beings as members of your own extended family, your brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, and children, then you will find wherever you go that love awaits you, welcomes you. It is God who gazes back at you when you behold him in all. Kindness is the recognition that all are truly our own. Kindness comes from not minding how others feel about us. It comes from the simple understanding that kindness is its own reward, worth giving out to others because the source of so much sweetness in ourselves. For those of broad sympathies, the very universe is home. And then Swami goes on to give an affirmation and prayer, which I highly recommend, because kindness was very close to Kriyanandaji's heart. He said that would be his legacy. That's one quality we could practice after. That's how he lived and how he wanted us to live. Now, let's find some practical ways. How do we go about this? I would say, do start your day, if you're not doing consciously, by praying to God. Swami used to do this every morning. God, thank you for keeping me alive today. Not that death is too bad, but if I'm alive, thank you. Guide my life today. Guide my day today. I offer this day to you. I am your child. I am your instrument. I want you to take charge of the day completely. And if we don't feel the strength for that, then we ask for that strength, that, okay, I want to give you half the charge and keep half. Children do that all the time. As they grow, then they say, okay, I want you to take charge. I understand you were always right, or whatever. So do that. Have that conversation with God. Second thing, keep the spine straight. Simple thing, but that is where the prana flows. So whether you're in a city, in a place, keep the heart open. Beam that smile. Pray for everybody. Before you go, St. Francis used to do this. He used to appreciate the flowers, the trees, the clouds, the people, and he would say, "You are all so beautiful. I am going to praise you. In turn, fill me with your qualities of beauty, freedom, so on and such." Again, it looks a little too poetic, but honestly, that's what the spiritual path is all about. You connect spirit to spirit, and it works out. Even in our conversations, Swami Kriyananda ji, anybody who's had a conversation with him, they remember that very profoundly, because here's the interesting thing. He said, "Before I talk to people, I send a ray of light from my heart to their heart, or from my spiritual eye to their spiritual eye. Once that connection is established, then I speak." Now, in the beginning, you and I may find it a little challenging even to remember to do that, or to know how to establish that connection. But once that has happened, frankly, words become secondary. You're leading from the heart. You are seeing them not so much as a person or a gender or a nationality or even their behavior. It's coming more from, "Come on, aren't we brothers and sisters? Let me help you in some way, or let me ask you for help in some another way." So again, simple things like that. And finally, I leave you with this simple thing. Swami said, let's say you wake up in the morning and you say, "Oh God, this person, Aditya, he's always telling us, be kind, be kind to strangers, be kind to this person and that. And it's too long of a list." Swami says, no, all you need to do is say, "I am kindness itself." He says, just become that quality. What else would you do? And he said, in that flow, of course, you'll be hurt a few times, you'll be misunderstood a few times. But like I was saying last week, you don't have to go around hugging people, but you're beaming kindness. And then if somebody looks back, you greet them. If somebody smiles, you smile back at them. Or Swami used to say, smile first. And then finally, if somebody is really looking a little hesitant, sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm in an introvert, I'm an extrovert." No, you don't have to be. Are we introverts and extroverts with our own family members? Not at all. If the family member needs you, you're with them all day or all the days. If they don't need you and they're fine, you're by yourself. And Master said likewise, when you're by yourself, be with God, be in God. When you're with people, put that kindness, that presence of God into an outward practice. And in this week of Christ's glorious life, then the challenge and how the teachings were put to test through his arrest and persecution by a very close disciple of his, and how when he came back through resurrection, which I'm sure all centers will be covering that beautiful theme, we too can say that, "Fill me with your love, fill me with your kindness, Christ, and let me serve as a living instrument." And finally, you can practice this affirmation of kindness. I've been trying to practice that now for 18 years. It is really very, very sweet when you put this simple thing into daily practice. Let's take a moment to center ourselves now as we transition into healing prayers. Let us see this world not so much as a diverse, large place, which it beautifully is, but as simply a ball of consciousness. And when we are in a higher state of consciousness, when our actions, thoughts, and words are in tune with this beautiful universe, may we feel God's kindness, may we channel his kindness, and let's share that kindness and healing light with everyone in this world. Let's rub our hands together, send these blessings out into the world. Oh.